Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. Joke here, and today I'm adding Beast Wrestler to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Beast Wrestler can be found on the Reservation Collection and was originally developed for the Sega Mega Drive and released in 1991. It's an isometric wrestling game where you control great big beast warriors and you wrestle with them and upgrade them and create genetic hybrids to get different moves and so on and so forth. It's a fairly notorious game on the Mega Drive as a whole, but also on the Evercade, and is often referred to as one of the worst games on the system. Well, on both systems I suppose. But is it really that bad? Well, it came up in Katie's challenge on the Evercade Discord, and I took the opportunity to finally play the game fully, because every other time I've tried to play it I've bounced off it pretty quickly and not really given it the time of day. So now I've played the game to completion and done a little bit of research into it, perhaps so you don't have to, or maybe this will intrigue you enough to make you give it a try. Maybe. The game is set in a sort of sci-fi future where genetically engineered beasts fight for dominance in the championship. It's wrestling with genetically altered monsters, obviously, but not just genetically engineered monsters, there's some robots as well. There's quite a mixture of different fighters, although predominantly they largely play the same. It has two game modes: match, which is your one-on-one fights, single one-on-one fights, and a tournament, which is exactly what you'd expect. A tournament where you fight different monsters and progress your way through to win the championship. Graphically, I'd say the game is passable at best. The main sort of monster sprites are quite large and fairly detailed, but they're not brilliantly animated. The backgrounds, I'm not even sure if they vary. They probably do, but they're so uninteresting you don't even notice. The presentation, however, is quite nice. I can't really fault that. On the audio front, well, it's very Mega Drive. The sound effects are the kind that the Mega Drive was renowned for in the negative way, with sound effects largely sounding like digitised farts. Fortunately, the music is better and is actually quite atmospheric. It's certainly not the best soundtrack out there, but again, it's pretty good. It does feel a little bit repetitive at times, but that's partly due to the prolonged nature of the matches, or in some cases. The gameplay itself, well, the game does have a number of novel ideas and it could be quite interesting. The idea of training your monsters to enhance them and genetically splicing different creatures together is quite interesting. There's potential there. But when the rest of the game is deeply flawed, it doesn't really amount to much, because the game, the main gameplay and how it feels is not good. The hit detection feels inconsistent. The controls feel clunky and generally lack any kind of fluidity to them. Now, generally I found a lot of wrestling games of the era were quite clunky anyway, but this takes it to a whole new level. Moves feel sluggish and unresponsive and are often hard to pull off, even if you're certain you're doing the right inputs. A lot of times they don't seem to work. I ended up sticking to the same few moves of the ones that I knew that I could fairly reliably pull off. It also lacks the depth of many other wrestling games. Although maybe that's an era thing, I didn't really play many back then, I was never hugely into wrestling. But there's no blocking or defence against things. You either get a move off or you don't. Grapples are contested, but it's more about who gets the move in first. Or at least as far as I can tell it is anyway. And some enemies seem impossible to grapple, meaning you just have to resort to the main punch and tail whip attacks. On the plus side, many of the monsters do require different strategies to beat, and your opponents do feel genuinely different. Well, as much different as the game can offer with its fairly limited and unresponsive mechanics. And when you combine that with the poor sound effects, it really doesn't make for a satisfying experience in the slightest. And I think it's a shame that it does fail so hard on the core gameplay, because as mentioned, there's some interesting ideas there. But ultimately, no matter how ambitious and interesting the ideas are, the game pretty much sucks. It's broken, it's janky, and I can't really recommend it. All that said, I am glad I finally gave it a chance and played through it. It's a morning of my life I'll never get back, but it was interesting enough for me in a morbid curiosity kind of way. Oh, as for any personal history I have with the game, it is one I'd heard of back in the day. I remember seeing it in magazines and thinking it sounded interesting, and then reading the reviews and how they stated it, but even so I was tempted to pick it up, but fortunately I never saw it on sale anywhere, so I think I had a lucky escape. So to place it on my overall ranking list, I would have to put it above Double Dunk but below Premier Manager 97. So I think that about wraps it up for this look into one of the Evercade's more infamous games, and if watching this video has made you tempted to give it another go and have a proper playthrough of it, I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.